This is Power 102 Digital Wednesday. Today, Wednesday, Farid Ali has as a special guest is Tulio Fraser of La Familia de Música as his guest. Let's see another guest come back there with him. Farid, introduce your guest. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon, David. I'm not too sure if we're having some. Okay, good. Good afternoon, everyone. Good afternoon to you, David, and to our special guests, Mr. Estulio Fraser and Kirsten Knights. I hope I got the pronunciation correct there, Mr. Fraser. Estulio. What does Estulio mean?
I tried to find out the
You have to unmute your microphone, right?
Mr. Knights, you need to, Mr. Fraser, you need to unmute
Hotel Nights.
Cool. Right. So tell me something. Welcome to the program. Thank you so much for agreeing to spend some time with us. To the listening public, we've had Mr. George Carter in the past. Yesterday we had Mr. Neil McCano, and today we have Mr. Estulio Fraser and Miss Carissa Knights with us. Mr. Fraser, tell us something. When did you become involved in music and thereafter parang music, that genre of music? What was your first experience? At what age? David, is it that we're having a connectivity issue or are you hearing me? Hello? Hello. I'm not too sure if it is for connectivity, for the sake of connectivity, if we are connecting.
Around 7 years. But I was 78. There's where I get my first experience. My father, my uncle.
David, are you there? It seems for the listening public, we seem to be having a connectivity issue. It's something that a technical issue that we should solve in the next, hopefully the next minute or two. So bear with us. I'm trying to see if it is we can resolve that issue on our guest end. Mr. Fraser, are you hearing us? I think we have a connectivity issue. Are you hearing me? Are you, Mr. Fraser? Are you hearing me? Are we connecting in that regard? Let me try. Are you hearing me, Mr. Fraser? Are you hearing me? Are you seeing me and hearing me? Hello? Mr. Fraser, are you hearing me? Are you hearing me? I'm not hearing you, and the studio individual isn't there either. He seems to be in another place. Are you hearing me at all?
Yes, yes, I'm hearing you.
Okay, I think my connectivity, we're having an issue because I'm hearing you, but I'm not hearing you consecutively. Could we try that again? Are you there, Mr. Fraser? Hello?
Yes, I'm here. I'm hearing you. I'm hearing you.
Farid, unmute your microphone, Farid.
Okay, I think we're there now. We're there now. Good afternoon, Mr. Fraser. It's good to see you and good to hear you.
Yeah, man. Good afternoon. Good afternoon.
Wonderful. Our connection is perfect now. It's a small delay, but we're right there.
Yeah.
So let's chat a little bit. I was saying that to the public that today we have Mr. Estulio Fraser joining us. He's from his band La Familia de Musica. How long have you been involved in Parang music, Mr. Fraser?
Well, this could be about 40 odd years.
Who introduced you to the Parang music, and what instrument do you play?
Well, my parents, my deceased parents, and in the past when I was around 7, 8, around there, they used to take us to go and make house parang. One serenade people at the Christmas season, Christmas time.
Yeah.
Going from house to house, serenading people, friends and family. And it was a joy. Those that were small. My mother used to tell my father, hey, where you came, little child? But you know, that was a exposure for me. So as I get out there, those days I couldn't really play instruments. I used to play maracas. And then from there, as we grew along, I started moving from branch to branch. Then I started playing the culture. The culture I got into guitar. And then from there, branch on to mandolin. I could play all instruments, mostly all the instruments I could. Yeah.
What part of Trinidad did you grow up in, and where do you
Well,
live in?
I grew up in Tabakit proper, yes. But we frequent all over at Christmas time. Serenading people in Christmas time. It was a joy, you know, house partying. That was the best thing when it's Christmas time. Daddy said,
Your,
hey, you're going tonight? I always ready. I was ready to, you know.
your
So as
parents
the
had
time goes,
your parents had a group that you were part of, or it was just neighbors getting together and
no,
they trying a thing, as we see.
nah, it was just my auntie and my uncle and friends, and they just get together and make a house party, man.
Right.
Every Christmas season, they just go and serenade friends and family all around. So they used to take me along with them, you know. And as time goes by, well, they get seasoning, man. They like when they seasoning chicken, you put the seasoning, season it.
Yeah.
So I cannot season it. And I started to grow. When I started growing now, one day I want to have my own parent group, right? And it's there we started making our own group. With my brothers and my siblings and friends. We made a small
So
little group of friends.
in what year did you all start the group La Musica?
Well, La Familia de Musica was founded around um, 1984, right? And from 1984, we started practicing, playing here, playing in small places, and then professionally, when we started playing professionally in 1988, is there we get the exposure. 1988, and we went on to win a lot of achievements from that time. As a matter of fact, I have a history of the group right here in Mahani. I can give you a little listing on it.
Yeah. What is
Yeah.
your view? What's your view in terms of Parang music as in its original form, meaning authentic Parang, as opposed to what we have now, where we see there is soca parang, and you have a movement away from the authentic parang music, which celebrates the birth of Christ, to parang soca, which sometimes deviates away from the birth. And for instance, you know, we hear Sprangalang singing "Bring Drinks." You hear Kenny J singing Alexander. So I mean, those things, that type of parang doesn't celebrate the birth of Christ as such.
Yeah.
So it's almost it's a commercial kind of parang where, you know, people use the instrument, or they use the umbrella of parang to create a different genre, or maybe put a little soca into it to give it a different feel. Well, what's your view in that movement? Does your band embrace that sort of that movement?
Well, it's a little bit of yes and a little bit of doing it. Because in the early days when we started playing in competition, so when you go out to play parang, is you used to be on the boat of Christ and on the Annunciation. Right? It was a sort of a spiritual thing, you know, you take the words from the Bible and translate it, put it in perspective, tell the story, you know. And then when you go there, your judges judging you based on that. And those days, the plan was strictly based on that, the Annunciation and the good, right? But as time goes by, they introduce the instrumental final, right? As a matter of fact, my group used to play in Trinidad and Tobago Parang Association, and then you had the National Parang Association, right? We used to take part in the competition in the Trinidad and Tobago Parang Association, and then one year we went across to the National Parang Association and took part, and we came out second, right? And as time goes by, they introduced the instrumental final in the Trinidad and Tobago Parang Association, and then from the a while after, then they bring out the soca parang. I think it was crazy. It was parang song, the soca parang song, you know.
I think that was 1978.
Yes.
Parang
Right.
soca.
Yeah. You know. So they swing it from the birth of Christ, where we had it, judging on that aspect. But as time go by, you know, everybody starts changing up, even the association. And then after a while, my association come and dissolve. So not no parang association. So my group, we went playing music all around, commercially that is, in bars, well, we play in churches, and we do a lot of charitable work, you know. And up until today, my group is vibrant, actively playing all around Trinidad and Tobago and serenading people and making everybody happy.
How do you feel about the movement in terms of, all right, the original music, the authentic music would have been essentially celebrating the birth of Christ. But when you see double lata being introduced and you see the movement into parang soca, do you see that as something, as a movement that is a negative movement, or you see it as all part of the evolution of the industry? Or
Well, presently, right now, that's how it look, how it tend to be. You know, as time go by, you go with the time, right? Because what happened in the Parang Association, you have the judge and the both and the Association, then you have Parang Sutra, right? So it's kind of like you're giving everybody a taste. Apart from the spiritual part, the Annunciation and the boat, when you come across now with the soca parang and other music, I'm bringing a different flavor, so everybody gets a little taste of everything, you know. But my group, we play most all our music on the birth of Christ, the Annunciation. We chip in other soca parang in between, you know. That's just to keep the night going around, going nice. As a matter of fact, I have my sister here, Kitila Nights. She does a lot when it comes to the singing of the song. Most of our song and our music was composed by both of us.
right.
She was a lady, and I was the musician. You know, we get together and then we bring thing forth. And today, well, so far, the grace of God, we are striving well.
What are some of the challenges that parang banks like yourself face in a short season? Oh, I know the season more or less starts in September into December. But what are some of the challenges that a band faces? I would imagine it's many hours of practice.
Yes, for sure.
And then the membership in terms of the how many players do you have in terms of
10 players. 10
10
members.
players?
9 including myself.
What are some of the challenges? Because when we look at a band's performance, remember you're not a single artist; it's almost orchestral in that sense.
Yeah.
You're nine to 10 members.
Yeah.
When it is you, how viable it is for a parent bank to perform during the season and actually stay profitable?
Yeah, well, for my group, we it is viable because what happened around Christmas season is one of the best time for my members. When we go out in Christmas season, like, my members could as well say after the season, they would enjoy the Christmas financially and otherwise.
All right.
You know? And as a matter of fact, we start playing music from September straight on until December. God bless that I have a full itinerary. And every year, when October, November step in, I could almost say my itinerary full. You know? Because we do a lot. Yeah.
Tell us some of the key components of having a band like yourself. What are the things that the ingredients that make the band what it is? Because I know that you have Miss Knights with you. I would imagine having a vibrant lead singer who can deliver the music in the way that you have written it and musically that's important. Voicing would be important, I would imagine. What are some of the challenges that you face as a band in terms of because you've been around for 40 years, so I would imagine in that 40-year period, membership would have changed, things would have evolved. Did you have any challenges in terms of getting singers or people who can represent your band and produce the music that you want?
Yeah, so what had happened in the past, my main lead singer, Lenora Fraser, deceased, she was my main lead singer. She was fluent in Spanish, right? She used to compose, put songs together. She could have talked in Spanish to anybody, you know. And then she came and got sick and she passed away in 2012. Right. So after she passed away, I had to make her lead singer, and that is where Kajala Nights come in. This lady here, sister. So she fully void in the absence of my sister. Even on the musical side, my bass man, my brother, he had passed. And then I had to get another bass man to carry on, you know. But I had friends, one of my friends gave me, two of them, and I basically trained them. And today, all of them versatile. As a matter of fact, we are self-taught instrumentalists. But never teach us to play music. We learn to play instruments on our own.
Right. So is it safe to say that you're learning music by ear, or you could read, or you don't read music, but you've learned
in the past, all the music was by ear. And my uncle used to talk like, in re major, mi minor, sol and all that kind of thing, right? And when I started playing music, it was by ear. But today, I could just develop playing in G, playing F, G, whatever, C, because we get the knowledge. Yeah.
All right. Maybe you can ask Miss Knight some questions. Miss Knight, good afternoon. How are you doing?
Good afternoon. I'm fine.
Okay. So tell us something. How long have you been the lead singer of La Familia de Música?
Well, after my sister passed on, well, we had to make a decision that somebody have to carry on with the singing, so our band would not break up. So then As told you, well, he told me that I might have to be like, I said, no, 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 no. I don't want to be listening because I was very shy. But then I prayed about it and I told the guide me, if he wants me to do it, I will do it. And then, well, as the time go by, songs start coming to me. I always hear people singing to me in my ear. Sometimes I wash ways. I will hear somebody humming a song to me. I will keep humming it after. And then sometimes when I take pen and go to paper, I can write out the whole song. I remember it had a night. I heard my father in my dream humming a song to me. And he keep going on and on until I had to get up. I keep humming it as he go along. And then I had to get up, take a pen and paper, and then I write out the whole song at night. So I always hear someone who's singing a song to me. They're always humming. And I will keep humming. And just as I keep humming and I take up a pen and paper, the words will come to me. And so I will write my songs. And I've written a lot of songs for our band. A lot of songs since then. So I had to take up the mantle from my sister when she passed, and I had no other choice. Someone had to do it.
The melody, how does one marry the melody in Parang music with lyrics? How does that look? Is it that you have a melody and you try to craft your lyrics through that melody, or you have lyrics and then you? How does that work? How do you create a song musically?
Right after, remember, I always hear someone humming a song to me. When I'm doing my work, if I'm washing wares, sometimes if I'm relaxing, sometimes if I'm sleeping. So then when I keep humming along with the person who I heard him in my ear. Then after when I start to write, I keep humming so the words fall into place with the melody. And after getting that, then I go to my brother and I tell him about it. He will take up his score through and we'll work together. And then he will tell me, okay, well, this part you can sing it twice. This part you can go with a high note or a low note. And then there is a song. So he's really my arranger.
In singing Parang, do you think, are you of the view that one has to have an innate inner ability, a God-given talent, or that this is something that one could develop? Develop a voice, or do you have to have, in your experience, do you have to have a innate talent to be able to
And I believe you have to have the love. I believe you have to have the love with you because our father, I remember during the he's always singing Paran. Always, anything he's doing, he always sings Paran. And we will try and sing along with him while he's singing. My father always sings Paran and my mother always loved to sing hymns. So while my mother doing her work, she used to be only singing hymns while she doing her work. My father, when he doing his work, it used to be Paran.
Yes, yes.
So we always try and fall in with him and learn the words and always sing with him. So we had that love from small. We grow in it, and it is love. So having love in us for it, it becomes easier. Like when I hear steady humming when I get in a song, when it comes to me, it is much easier for me.
Right. Mr. Fraser, walk us through some of the instruments that form part of your repertoire in terms of the music you all produce. What instruments do you all use in the band?
Okay, we use the mandolin, control, guitar. We have the bass. In the past, we had box bass. But now commercially, since we're playing commercially all around, we more use like string bass guitar now. Right? You have tambourine, racha, maracas, drums. We have the full works. The Parang is concerned. But in my group, I mostly play mandolin. Now I incorporate keyboard. Like For instance, if I play in a soca parang, I play on the keyboard. And if I play on the parang music, well, instead of parang music, I play mandolin. You know? So you get a nice flavor, Christmas flavor in the mandolin. The parang is consumed, and then you go after the soca parang. Well, then you change it up a little bit. We improvise it sometimes, you know, to make it nice. Yes. You know,
In
right
the
after
in the early days when you started off 40 years ago, when it is
yeah,
you were still learning,
yeah,
was it essentially, people associate, we would associate a parang band with more like a string band as opposed
yes,
to amplified music.
yes,
Um,
yes, yes.
do you think, are you of the view that the amplification of the music has taken away from the authenticity and the originality of parang?
Well, yes, in some way, yes, yes, some way, because in the past was only acoustic music, you know, and everywhere with acoustics. Now you get the sweetness of the music when you go on, like when you're making house party, you have acoustic music, box bass and everything. It tends to sound sweeter than normal,
Yeah.
right? But then when you're going when you start going commercially and playing in bars, playing all over the place, and you need to pump it up to have volume, and that is where the amplification come in, right? As a matter of fact, in Trinidad and Tobago Parang Association, the music there was amplification, right? There was only amplified music, you know. The National Parang Association, they were authentic at that time, right? But in Trinidad and Tobago Parang Association, where we took part, was amplified music. And from there we continue up to today, we amplified. Yeah, we play several different kind of music. As a matter of fact, I could go kind of music. Right? I play Spanish, I play reggae, play Japanese, play all kind of music. I also have a small little band, we call it La Familia, small band, with 4 people. You know, I extend it out during the year when Christmas finish, Christmas season close off. I still want to share a little with people in my little small band, you know, and birthdays and christening and wakes all over. As a matter of fact, people call me all over the place when somebody pass because they find I do so well, cheering up people when they start.
Yeah.
And I guess that is my take God out for me. When God has something for you, who could take it from you, right? And if God helps you to do something, you have to do it what God to do. And my way, our band, like in my group, we do a lot of charitable jobs, right? Which is free, of course. Churches, homes, different schools, and so on. Retired people, and we go to church for those things. You know why? God has been blessing my group so much. Why take back? So you always got to give. When you give, get more. God bless you. Yeah. But I'm happy with my group and doing well. Yeah, we are doing very good. And members of the group as well.
What is your take? What is your take on we've been seeing a lot that the introduction of the national instrument pan. Some bands tend to use a tenor pan, a tenor pan player. Do you think that adds value in terms of it enriches the music, or you think that takes away from the original authentic song?
Well, I think pan is a plus, because the pan when you're playing pan, it's like a tenor pan in a parang. It playing it comes like you like when you play the mandolin taking the lead. So he doing the work. So that incorporation with that pan and the mandolin and everything is good. To me, my opinion, I find it's good. Incorporate the pan, give a different flavor in it. Yeah.
When in producing a studio version as opposed to a live performance,
Mm-hmm.
what are some of the challenges in in producing the music in a studio as opposed to a live performance? Because I would imagine that a live performance speaks for itself. That's self-explanatory. It's like you're there, you're hearing everything. But a studio version, what sort of work and effort and energy goes into producing
the
a
studio
studio
version,
compilation?
yeah, that is different from if you're playing on the outside in the open. In the open, you have music blasting, everything. But then you're in a studio, there's a difference. Your music had to be neat. It can't be too loud. Everything had to come back together, you know. And in a studio, the place just be so nice, silent. If a pin drop, you can hear it. When you're out there, you can't hear a pin drop because it's more or less noise. It's power, you know. Yeah. I remember in '88 when we did our first CD. When we went there to do the first CD, everybody was just sat silent. And then when we started now, we started it. And me first, I started with the mandolin first CD song. And then retrofitting, then bringing them individually, and it all come together. You know, and then we bring the voices with it. It was a nice doing. It was a nice experience, a nice feeling too. You know? Yeah.
Within your band, do all your members are they able to read music? And
But not all of them though. Some of them would be in a position to read music.
okay.
Yeah. In the past, when we started playing, we didn't know to read music, and we used to play by ear. You know?
Mm-hmm.
So if you're going to go and play, listen to somebody playing, pick up a question or mandolin and start to play, you're running in front and you find them and they start to play and you join in. Because people swear that you know what you're doing because you know to read music. By that time, we really didn't know to read music at the time. You know, we just play by ear. But like no. But then you take up a catch or whatever, you don't know it's in G man playing already. But that was playing in C, you know. Thank God for that knowledge. You know? Yeah, no matter fact, when you play, I just have according to the song, just them members know we on G or we on C, you know? Yeah. That's how it goes.
How difficult is it to bring the band together in terms of the choreographing of the players in relation to each other, the choreographing of the music, the marriage of the music and so on, the voicing, the instrumentation. When it is you have persons who can read as opposed to who can't read, is it a greater challenge, or with
Yes,
the ability to read it, it makes it
I agree
easier?
with that. It's a little challenging because sometimes you get things running smoothly, and sometimes again, you know, like on the road, them humps on them, little humps and thing. You're up on the bump and you come back down in the potholes. It's something like that. Sometimes everything running smooth and nice in a band on a group, and then when you expect everything to go smooth, that it tends to go 100. You know, because a leader of the group, you have to have patience, you have to have courage, you know, to keep the group together. Because if you started getting on mad and crazy and hey, all is supposed to be on time, next thing you may not have a group, you know. But we instill discipline in them all the same, which is good. You know, so if you have to handle this, hello, you have to reach in transfer time. And trust me, all my years I've been around, I never want to reach late in a function. Yeah, never want to reach late in a function. I always like to be there before 2 hours or 3 hours before. So when I reach there, everything when the time ready to say, hey, you're ready. You know? That again. You know,
With your group La Familia de Musica, what would you say is your recipe, the recipe you as the leader have in order to create that success that you've had? Because it's been 40 plus years.
yes.
How do you manage to keep the group happy and to keep the membership and the togetherness and the solidarity alive?
Yeah. Well, it's the whole thing about it is the love, you know. The love that you show your membership, right? Because in my group, somebody might get offended for some little small thing. And I would pull up one time, I would say, hey, you ain't coming for that. Who was that? And then tomorrow, everybody hugging up and loving up again. This week, I extend the love to them. I show them the love. I never show nobody hate. So when I give my members love, they get love, right? So it was a challenging at some time, but I always manage to keep them together because I love that I extend to them.
How often does the group practice? You all practice. I would imagine more so during the season, but let us say during the season, how often does the group meet in order to?
Presently, right now, my group does not practice because we so active in the music. Is every weekend we out Friday, Saturday, Sunday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. You know, so during the week, members, them ladies have to do their chores and so on. So we get any chance. But when you go back on the weekend, it's just as if we practice for the whole week. But in the past, we've been practicing quite a while. So when we start to perform outside, everybody have it on the tip of their fingers and what they're about.
Yeah.
You know? Yes. So we don't have much problem in that sense.
Tell us something about repertoire. I would imagine that for every performance, as a band, you don't want people to say, well, we hear that last week or we hear that in the last gig. They always playing the same music.
Yeah.
How do you manage and juggle the repertoire in order to stay fresh in the minds of the public?
Yeah, well, as we go along, we always try to create new songs all the time. Yeah. Because over the years, we had 2 CDs, Feliz Navidad and Parang Fiesta, right? But we don't just go there and just play out all the music that we have in the CD alone, like some other group might have done. Every time you hear my group, you hear different songs. So we always creating new songs, right? Improvising. So when you come out, but we didn't hear that song before, you know? So we're just trying to incorporate some of those and some new ones. Bring everything together.
Okay. Miss Allard, you can take off your camera in the interim.
Oh, okay. Moment. Yes. Okay. Sorry about that.
And your volume. No, Miss Allard is following you all later into the, but she jumped in early. So, yeah.
But
so
I want to share before you thing. I want to share a little bit of the
we have some time. We have some time.
You have some time, okay.
We have some time. We're going all the way on. It's now 5 to, so
Okay.
we should. You have until about 5 past. So we have about 12 minutes, and then we could get into and we could close off the performance, the show with your performance.
Right. Okay. La Familia de Música Parang Group hail from Tabaquit, which is known for the Nava Dam and the Norris Tunnel. Parang is also famous in Tabaquit. Families like La Familia de Música, led by Studio Fraser and Malcolm Fraser. There are 10 members in my group, some of which is family and friends. And the group perform privately all over. The group has produced our first CD in the year 1988 with the help of Godfather Hariban Supla. As the person who came forth and said, boy, you also are nice and you could make a CD, and he was our Godfather at the time. Right? He won several competitions over the years. My father, this is Francis Fraser, and my sister, this is Lenora Fraser. They were awarded from CUT for Fiesta de la Noche at the Hilton Hotel in 1988. Until now, we playing parties all over Trinidad. These are some of the following achievements. In the year 1985, finalists in the Trinidad and Tobago International Parang Festival. In the year 1986, second in the Trinidad and Tobago Parang Association. In that same year, second in the National Fiesta. In 1987, first in the Trinidad and Tobago Parang Association, which my sister, the Cecil Lenore Fraser, happened to be the best vocalist. Best Julio Fraser, which is myself, best mandolinist, Lucian Fraser, best tambourinist. And that same year, we came first in the Polish competition in Port of Spain. We also came first in the Lioness Parang competition in that same year. Then Lucian Fraser, when he was the tambourine man, and he used to play mad with that tambourine, and he placed first in the National Parang Register. In 1988, awards for excellence from the Venezuelan ambassador. In 1988 again, our members, they were awarded certificate from the National Institute for the Performing Arts. And in 2005, we made our second CD entitled Feliz Navidad. That is our achievements that we received so long.
Congratulations on that work. Do you have your instrument with you that you could perhaps play
Yes,
something for us?
I have one here. This is the control.
Let's hear you.
I also have the mandolin. I have tok tok. I want to do a whole thing, but there's not much people to play it. And not much people to really play it. But I promise to sing you a song. I'll sing you 2 songs. If you want to do it, no problem.
We would love to hear the song. You could go ahead now.
Yes.
Yeah.
noche de alegría, noche de María, Gabriel María.
Y cuando nacimos, se abrió una estrella, ay, sobre la tierra bendita, ay, de Belén de María.
Fiesta de la noche, noche de alegría, noche de María, Gabriel María. Fiesta de la noche, noche de alegría, noche de María, Gabriel María.
Los pastores andaban siguiendo por la estrella y la hallaron con su madre bendita.
Fiesta de la noche, noche de alegría, noche de María, Gabriel María. Fiesta de la noche, noche de alegría, noche de María, Gabriel María.
A mí me parece mucho cantar ay, para las maracas y la guitarra.
Fiesta de la noche, noche de alegría, noche de María, Gabriel María. Fiesta de la noche, noche de alegría, noche de María, Gabriel María. So that was Fiesta de la noche.
Viva.
That was wonderful. I could only imagine when I meet the band in full flight with all the membership.
It's true, quite true.
You all sound so powerful and so the marriage of your voices is flawless.
That was only.
But
That was this one is really good.
the next one was in
Okay.
Fiesta.
Fiesta.
I think we get one more.
Yeah, that's on the book.
Okay.
And this one is on the
Annunciation.
Annunciation. María, 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 María. Cuando yo cantando, María, 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 María. Cuando yo cantando,
Al salir María, el Señor es contigo, porque tu bien consigo contigo. Saludos María, el Señor es contigo, porque tu bien consigo contigo. María, 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 Magdalena, cuando cantando María, 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 Magdalena, cuando cantando el niño en tu barriga se llama Emmanuel, se va a reverente de Israel. El niño en tu barriga se llama Emmanuel, se va a reverente de Israel. María, 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 Magdalena, cuando cantando María, 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 Magdalena, cuando cantando Isabel tenía ayer, en su barriga, ay no me vaya bien. Isabel tenía ayer, en su barriga, no me vaya bien.
María, María, María,
María, Magdalena, María cantando
María, 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 Magdalena, María cantando María.
María visitaba a Isabel, trae buenas noticias, ven a Gabriel. María visitaba a Isabel, Ay, madera sorpresa con anunciación, se cae de rodillas y la bendición. Madera sorpresa con anunciación, se cae de rodillas y la bendición. María, 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 María Magdalena, María Magdalena, María cantando que yo me moría. Ay, corren las marracas y la guitarra, les ponemos todo que Dios que viva. Para las marracas y la guitarra, les ponemos todo que viva, que viva. María, 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 María Magdalena, María cantando que yo me moría. María, 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 María Magdalena, María cantando que yo me moría. María, 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 María Magdalena, María cantando que yo me moría. María, 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 María Magdalena, María cantando que yo me moría.
Yeah, man.
It's really wonderful hearing you all. It's what's amazing is your song so powerful, and it's just the two of you all. I could only imagine when the other 7 members join you.
Yes, definitely.
Yeah, it's like fireworks.
I want to say thanks for making yourself available to us. We would keep in touch, and we would have another program and invite you all to share some more. It's a nice groundbreaking experience with you all today, and best wishes to the band moving forward.
Thank you so much.
Thank you so much.
Enjoy your evening and be safe.
Okay,
Thank you so much.
Miss Alad.
Yes, hi, Farid.
It's good to hear your voice, and it's good to see you. It's good to see
Yes.
you. Thank you for making yourself available. So we had earlier Estulio Fraser and Miss Carissa Knights. They're from their band La Familia de Musica. And
Yes.
so hence we have you now in another segment. It's your band is Los Dinamicos.
Dynamicos.
Dynamicus, Reed.
Dynamicos.
Dynamicus.
Yes.
So tell us something. Where
You know, before I start, I just want to make a comment. Listening to La Familia de Musica, when we were just the Allied sisters, we had the honor of singing alongside this band. And this is a band that we always appreciated. It's one of the older, very good bands, very thorough in their lyrics and in their music, what we still call the traditional kind of band. So I felt a sense of nostalgia just listening, you know. I'm happy I logged in early. Yes.
well, we all the feed is up, so you can
Yes,
listen to the whole show from its
I
entirety
will. I
on
will.
YouTube.
Yes.
So on that note, how do you feel about the movement of the music away from authentic parang into like more parang soca? And if I were to use an example, you know, a lot of persons and bands that sang the aguinaldos and were into that authentic parang, some of them take issue with the fact that we've gotten to the stage where we have double lantra now
Yes,
in the parang.
Mm-hmm.
We could go so far to mention with Kenny J's music when he sang Alexander.
Yes.
And then
Read. Yes, I'm understanding because I think this debate is bigger than all of us. But I think what has happened is that when Parang moved from that natural setting of house to house to the artificial setting of the stage, everything changed. You know, before Parang really never started with getting money. What the paranderos did was their gift. It, you gave your gift freely. That's why you call it, the word aguinaldo means gift, and it is a gift of song. And when you go from house to house, you are bringing joy. That word paranda means merrymaking. So you're bringing a parang to the home. You are giving your gift, the aguinaldo. So that is why the song became an aguinaldo, but it really means that gift of love that you bring to the home, and the home receives that gift also with love and joy, and they respond by giving you things to eat and drink. That it was. Then everybody would join in, the whole household. Now you remove that beautiful act of giving and you put it on a stage, things change. Now we begin to think about clothes. We have to look differently. And I'll give you a little example. We experienced that because we grew up in Maruga. So we live parang, we breathe parang. Parang, we do that all year. And we do it as a gift during the year. But at Christmas time, when we are hired, it is different. So with Silvestre Mata, he came from Venezuela and he brought lots of music too. One of our old bards, well recognized, with 2 CDs. And he was asked to sing in a little party. And we were his chorus singers. And when we arrived in that party, no mic, to see he had nothing. And they put a little mic by his mouth. And you know what happened when they couldn't hear? They blasted the party music and he was left looking so sad. And I just said, this must never happen to us. So it is what the function of parang has changed. Now we are looking at party performance on a stage, competition. You have to compete. So everything has changed, the function. And this is why some people miss the old way. But this happened naturally. The movement from natural to artificial brought all these changes. People looking at it and they find, well, we could hire these people now, put them in a party, but we need amplification. So that is why the Parandero moved with that. I listened to Neil and he said some wonderful, true things. Because even we were just like the Allied sisters and people said, join the association. So we did join and we still tried to keep to what we were. But then people said, come and sing in this mall. We will give you something. So you are invited into a different kind of parang performance. So this is the dilemma of the parandero. So most of us do things simultaneously. All through the year, we still sing our parang in the old style. At a birthday party, in a home, we stand outside, we sing, we enter. But now, at Christmas time, we are hired. And just as Marcano said, you have members who look to get some money because they might not have had good jobs. Music is their talent. So you accept so that they can live. So this is the dilemma. So this is the movement. Now, this thing with the soca para, coming back to what you asked, that's very interesting. You see, we live in Trinidad. And what happened is that the Calypsonians see this parang and they love it. It is infectious. So they want to join in it too. So they bridge that gap with the soca parang without fully understanding what the parang really was about. But we still have very good soca parang songs. And what has happened now is that parang in Trinidad is now an umbrella for all kinds of parang. We have the traditional parang, the soca parang, chutney parang, we have salsa parang, crossover parang, you name it, because we are a melting pot nation and we live with different ethnic groups and we assimilate naturally and we just produce. So it is not a bad idea, but the only thing that most people don't like, and I would agree, is that double attend when it becomes smutty. Because, smutty lyrics, is, we wouldn't think it would be acceptable. Most of us would say at no time, but I guess in the Calypso world, it is acceptable. So many of the diehards, the older bards, really frowned upon it. But we still have some lovely ones. You have singing Francine, crazy. Even though he's crazy, he has done some wonderful, Christmas parang type songs. So, so it's not too bad. It's just the parandero really has to know how to move between the two. You're caught between stationary and evolutionary, and we find the balance.
Do you think when we hear someone sing like Sprang Along sang Bring Drinks,
Yes.
no, Bring Drinks have nothing to do with the birds of Christ.
Oh, very good, Farid, very good. So I want to explain that too. Yes. Now, what happened? The paranderos who came to work in the cocoa, they did not only bring Christmas songs, they brought secular Spanish folk songs, like the Rio Manzanare, the Guarapo, that you call the Warap, the Sabana Grande, the Polo, and lots of other folk tunes. But what happened is that they would have sung all that in their homes, but when Christmas time came, they became visible to the public. So people would see these people on the road singing their songs. They became public. And what happened is that you will start with two people. And as you go from house to house, the group gets bigger and bigger. Somebody will take a bottle and spoon because it is so infectious and so lovely. So that is what happened. But they would have sung all the songs. Christmas was the greatest time for them. So that is when they made themselves public in the streets, going from house to house. But they did not only sing Christmas songs. So this is what they did. Along the road, they sang the Serenal, which will talk about how lovely the sky is, the stars are shining. That's how we get the Sereno, Sereno Serra. You're going through the dawn. And as you reach the house, abrime la puerta, you open the door for me, you are entering. Then the first song you will sing is the Annunciation, because you are bringing your Christmas gift in song. So you did, and they followed the Bible. So you sing that whole story. The angel came, everything Mary said, etc. And they followed it to a T. This was special. Then they would bring the Nacimiento, which is the birth. But those who understood well only brought in the birth on Christmas Eve, because they said, well, Christ isn't born yet. So Christmas Eve night, they will bring in the Nacimiento. After that, they will sing any manzanare, even a galeron, so that people in the house could dance and enjoy. Then they will eat, they have fun. Then they would sing the Despedida, which is the goodbye song. And then they leave and they go to another house. So this is why it is Christmas time, they were showcased. So all of us believe it was only Christmas songs. But we do sing, groups sing the Manzanare. Some may sing the Sabana Grande, the Joropo, the Guarapo. So all of these were brought. But what, people, we must love that Christmas song because it is Christmas time. So that is why if Sparalang sing, bring drinks, as long as it is not smutty, nothing is wrong, because that is the truth about society. Even the parandero, when they go to the home, they will get some rum, they will get some whiskey, whatever there was to offer. There's this story, if you do some research, about the no-cheat rum drinking parandero who was despised, but they were able to lift themselves out of that. So Sprang song is a historical truth about Parang. They loved the Bible and they loved God, but they were normal human beings who still drank their liquor, and they loved God as well. A full human being. So that will answer the question about singing other types of songs.
From what you describe, it appears
Yes.
that there's a science behind how the music is presented.
Yes, there is.
You just don't turn up there and sing anything that comes to your mind.
No.
There's a sequence and there's a choreographing of what is presented at the house.
Wonderful for
from start to end. And once you complete this set, then you move to another house. You don't go there and spend the day.
No, correct, which we do now. But quite true. And you know what? It's like when you study it, that would have been natural to them, this is what you do. But when you study it, then you see the sequence. Sometimes you do things like our natural musicians. They compose music and they mightn't know that they're singing in a B flat or A or whatever, because it is natural. It takes the person who would analyze and tell, this is what you are doing. So, but there is. It's only in studying it, and even the lyrics. Many academics have looked at what they sang to, how the structure of their songs, six syllables per line when you repeat the chorus. So all of these things have emerged through research, and we understand and appreciate what these old paranderos did and what we have inherited. Yes.
Do you see the originally,
Yeah.
it would have been parang music would have been like string band sort of beginning. That's where it began.
Yes.
Do you see the introduction of additional instruments through the years as adding, um, amplifying the essence of the music, or do you see it as subtracting from what it really is, the authentic parang? And I'm
Wonderful.
saying that to say
Yes.
we're
Yeah.
seeing the introduction of the tenapan.
Yes. I think that's a great question. Yeah, for read. And you know why? It depends on the function. The function of parang before, it was pure and clean. Everything was freely given, freely accepted, and freely returned. But like my poor uncle, Betico Silvestre, he had no amplification. So now it is functional. If you want people to enjoy the music in a party, you must amplify. You must use a mic. You must have more instruments. So it is the necessity for that kind of parang. Parang for effect is different from the function of parang in a home. So that is the same thing with movement from natural to artificial. And the fetch are no longer given a gift. You are actually hired to play and make music for these people to enjoy themselves. You have your fans. You want them to be happy. So it's still bringing joy, but in a different way. So you need the amplification in the party. So nothing is wrong with that. But because even initially, when the parandero came, one cuatro and a pair of maracas, that was your parang band. You needed nothing. But even in the natural setting, people who want to join, you pick up a bottle and spoon, you pick up something to scratch. So naturally, more music came. People want to join. You want to be part of this wonderful music. So this is what happened. Now they put you on a stage. You can't please nobody. Flores has a beautiful song about singing how they don't understand. They think you're singing soulfish all the time, and you singing something so holy as as you want to talk about the birth of Christ. So is this problem also with the Spanish? I guess the language barrier is a principal issue because people only will get a sensory enjoyment of the music. But the ideological is to understand words and music. So now parang is functional. You go to suit where you are. And a competition, you can't just go with one quattro and a marag. You will lose. So you go to suit the occasion and the function. That is what parang is right now.
If you have to put together an orchestra, a band, and this is for the listening public, what are some of the key, what are the key must-have instruments that you would have part of, that would form part of your orchestra? What instruments would you say that you can't be a parang band without these particular instruments? What are some of those?
Okay, for the true parandero, you will say you must have your cuatro and your maracas. They'll say your guitar. You must have some percussion. And a lead instrument, I think, is wonderful. The mandolin and the chenapan, I think it's great because it can do exactly what the mandolin does. It can run scales. It can bring that melodious touch, to your parang orchestra. But for any true parandero, cuatro and maracas. You can have your tok, whatever. But we are different and we sing according to to who we are singing for. Because sometimes people tell us we want parang. So we know essentially we will sing all our real parang tunes. And some people ask us before, and we want some soca parang, some soca salsa, a little thing. And then in that case, if you don't have your cuatro, that is okay because you are bringing hybrid music, hybrid parang music. which is still under the umbrella of Parang. So we actually sing to suit our audiences and even to children. Sometimes we just know what children would like, especially when we are singing in Gulf City. So even the little babies might want to dance or whatever. Yeah.
In the years that you've been involved in Parang music, um, what is your view in terms of the money that is involved? Is it viable to stay active as a parandero, having a band? How much of a challenge is it to keep the band vibrant and active and keep your membership
Yes.
interested?
Excellent question again. I think our band, well, we are about 37 years now, but we have always stayed together because we can do all kinds of music. And I know what you mean about it. I think we understand that from the beginning, So one time people used to call us a charity band because we would do everything, almost for free, because we are accustomed to freely given, freely accepted, and respond, freely. But people have offered us money, and somehow I find we have been able to do everything, even go on tours and sing, sometimes freely, sometimes for money. But I think it really depends on the band. If you have jobs, because most of us were employed, and Parang was really our hobby. Our father was a principal, so most of us ended up in education. And then, but we have other members where music alone is their talent. When we became Dynamicos, we were Allied sisters first. My brother joined Allied family, and it's then we included other members. So we are happy to get paid simply for these people too. And then we have a little party, and they don't even need much. It's just something to go by. So it's a consumer society, and we really need to eat, because and this is how people say you want to eat a food, and it is true. And I believe in that functional setting of the party. Paranderos need to be paid, I think, highly. But I'll tell you why I feel this may not happen. People still, Parang is different. It didn't come out like the calypso out of rebellion or, the desire to fight. It started out, its essence is love, and that can never be paid for. What Parang is something so pure, nobody could never really pay for it. And we can still give that freely. And I don't know if people feel it. And then most times too, we are hired when big companies want to give too. So they want to treat an award ceremony. They're not making big money like big fat makers with tickets. So somehow, and they'll pay you too. So because they're actually not making money. And I think that is the difference with calypso and the other musical genres. It is different. It's like they bring us in that Christmas season of love. And of course, we everybody wants money, but there's something about the parang that I don't know if it's maybe I'll call it a blessing in a way, that we have an art form that will never become contaminated completely because of what it means. Its essence was always given. The calypso was always a fight. Like when they're singing, to hit back at the white slave master, and you bring your picong. Paranderos have their picong too, but theirs was different. I think about, I can sing better than you, and the grandiose ideas, and I am the Lord of whatever. But it is not to bring you down and belittle you as is done in the calypso world. So there are two different musical genres, moving side by side, rubbing up on each other, assimilating from each other, and creating beautiful music. But this is why, and I understand, we really should, because if we are functioning like the Calypsonians, get the money. But somehow I understand why it cannot be so. It is just what Parang is. It's just what it is. I don't know if that explains it.
No, I follow you clearly.
And this is what there was somebody yesterday with Neil, and he was saying, that nostalgia that, and in my mind, I said that is what he wants. It is something he doesn't like the movement, and I could understand it because what we had is so different. It is free, spontaneous. Nothing could block it off. But you see on stage, you sing 3 songs, you move, another band comes. This is advancement. It has its risks and its, and whatever it is. And this is how the world is. Yeah.
Let me jump in here for a little while. I don't know if it's me you're talking about from yesterday, but I believe in that traditional, authentic Parang sound as compared to its evolution into Parang Soka or Soka Parang or whatever they want to call it. I know it will
And
evolve.
I find that's wonderful. I find people are free to say what they love. We do the two. And if you want to enjoy some of that, we have been to Venezuela and given it for free when just on holiday, because our whole family is involved in the parang. Every year we go to Tobago, Turtle Beach, we'll get parang, and Trinidadians who, across with us, they're accustomed with that. But we cannot bring that beautiful authenticity in a parang fete. They might
Tell me something, Francisca.
like crazy.
I'm always concerned about continuity and the passing of the baton. Could you talk about that?
Oh yes, well, and I think NPAT is really trying hard with that because their motto was always to preserve that authenticity of Parang. But their difficulty is because it is on stage and you have to have amplification. And I don't know, who am I speaking to, Elsa? What's your name? The other person with you, Farid.
That's David. It's David McIntyre. That's how.
David. Hey, David.
How you doing?
I know David. Yes, David, yes. So we go way back, and I know what he's talking about too. Because you see, it just cannot. You could try your best, and David will. At one time there were 2 parang associations.
Yes.
Like Familia de Musica, they spoke about it. They belong to the amplified set, the TTPA. And their own was just to make parang prominent and give it a standard. NPAT, devoted to keeping that authentic. But still, we know that from the time you have a competition, it's still not like Papagoon and Sotero Gomez. And, something is the amplification changes the sound. But
I have no problem with the amplification, right? I have no problem with amplifying the authentic instruments and all of that.
And I think that is, yes.
I'm kind of concerned as to, Francisca Alad and Jennifer McPherson and all these people are prominent icons of the art form. How do you pass it on? Or are there youths who are willing to absorb and continue?
Yes, NPAT doing that with the schools. And they are keeping, but even still, I judge it, and we have moved away because choreography was never part of the thing. It'll be passed on the traditional music itself, but in a modern way. Because you have its choreography is everything. But I think how we can do it, I'm telling the youngest person in my group, he knows what it is. He grew up in it. So that baton can still be passed.
Yeah.
To keep it. We just have to understand what it is. And it can be maintained. And we maintain that even without amplification, sometimes on our tours. But it is really difficult for the parandero. And I understand. Even Dr. Moody Kubalal saying when sometimes she longs to hear that old feel, but you'll only get that in a house. The amplification, you'll still get it, yes. Even like the Lara song, that is quite authentic.
Yes.
The Lara brothers, so you're right. But they just have the flute instead of the mandolin, and you just, and they use the mics because there is a different sound.
I really and truly miss the Parang festivals that were the Parang all across the country.
Yes, and I find that is a loss too. Holly really tried to, and he wanted to keep the authentic kind of parang. He did his best, but as we say, time moves on. But I don't think the essence will ever be truly lost, especially since we know it. And I'm sure there are many like me who probably do the traditional thing just as it used to be in the natural setting, not on a stage.
Yes, you see, I find it's very unique to
Yes,
Trinidad and Tobago. And like I said, Farid
you're
can
right. Yes,
um, uh, quote what I've said, that
yes,
we tend to throw away traditions in
yes. That
Trinidad,
is really good.
and I think
But
we should
yeah,
really, really preserve it,
yeah.
like you said.
Yeah, and I agree. So, and I think they did some house to house probably to create that feel. And then it's always the money. Ever since my thing with NPAT mismanagement of funds and the same government not wanting to pay. Because I remember even at one time we sued NPAT in our young days when we placed for it was Reyes, Los Canarios, and us in the first three. Can't remember in what order, and we never got that money. So there's something too where we have to, when you're handling. You see, there's the sad thing too. When you come into competition, money involved, is different. That artificial part of it, competition, and people want their money and ooh. So it's part and parcel of evolution too, and keeping with the times, because people Holly wanted to show the world Trinidad. You know what Holly did at first? He actually brought leaves for the Pandero to feel comfortable, palms for them not to feel you come in from your country into a place, this room for them to feel comfortable to play. And I
Yeah.
think what group was that? Some Valencia, I think that some group, and the Old Oak Serenaders. I think that these old groups. So this debate, David, I think, is one that could continue on, and it is so beautiful. But we still embrace the chutney parang and the soca parang
Oh yeah.
because we are living in Trinidad. And somebody asked me, and how we compose. We can't compose like the Venezuela. Like I can't compose like Uncle Betty Coo. Because what is beating in my ear, I am hearing strains I grew up with hearing nice classical chutney songs, even even classical songs. Rahina Rahin,
Yeah.
all these things we living here. So when you compose, what you do, and as an anthropologist who made me aware, even with my Jome Voy de Paranda, it's really like a reinterpretation of this say, because he said, Francisca, analyze it. Your beat has some calypso in it. And when I studied, I realized our beat is close to calypso. We're not playing
Yes.
that parang beat like Venezuela, not like
That
the
that's the
Oriente.
beauty. That's
Yes,
the beauty of us being a cosmopolitan country.
yes.
That's why
And
I am
so
very particular about keeping
yes,
it
it's happening
unique.
naturally. And I love also. So part of we compose. I did a chutney parang too, parosin, with the hero, my friend.
Yes, I
Because that
remember
is
that.
exactly how I was, you feel, you embrace it all. And yet we still have our traditional, which we do, but not on stage.
Paranderos like you and Jennifer and
Yeah,
Alicia, you
yeah,
guys have sort of perfected the use of uh, Spanish, as a language, and brought it into the music. In
yes.
passing on this this beautiful art form, are you guys teaching the young ones to use the Spanish language words?
Yes, definitely, because you know what the government is helping there because everybody has to do Spanish. So what happens now is that most of the paranderos now can understand them when they are saying better than those of long ago, because that was passed on from generation to generation. So you were just imitating, sometimes without fully understanding. So there's a better understanding of the lyrics. What we don't have is what Kubla Singh says is sometimes the sinalefa, what they had naturally to roll the thing, and the thing they're talking bad Spanish, but it is actually perfectly correct. Where Daisy might say, when say by Cayman, where it says se va, and you leave out the N,
Yeah.
and the cow, and not pescado, because that is their dialect.
Yes.
So we might sing more standard, which is good. So if you can marry the two, if you inherit a song and you hear what is sung, you can imitate it, and you will get that old traditional feel as well, with a greater understanding. Your standard. Think of a Venny talking English. They will talk it a little funny. So ours will song, a little different too, but perfect in its grammar, etc. So I think we're doing okay, because so many children are still singing Spanish, and the younger ones, they love it, but truthfully, the younger ones prefer the soca parang. So what NPAT is doing is good in having that junior competition. So they will hear the traditional way of singing and come and to do it. So I think this is feeding back into the younger bands, into the adult arena. Those bands like Los Sonidos, Voces de Promesa, young bands coming up now. So it is good.
Yes, I agree with you, Farid.
Yes.
The talent to sing, it's
Yes.
in my mind and heart, that's a God given talent. Not
Yes.
everybody can take up a mic and perform,
Yes.
and people. So you may have singers and you have performers, people who could actually. And I imagine that you can take somebody who can sing, and create a performer out of them. They can
Yes.
learn how to present their
Correct.
voice.
Yes.
But in my little world, if you can't sing, they have nothing to present.
I agree. In any
No,
musical genre, yes.
right. So I'm saying that to
Yeah.
ask you this.
Yeah.
Um, I've read where Roy Cape would have heard Destra Garcia
Yeah.
um, as voicing music, and then he would have assisted her in getting into soca and so on.
Yeah.
So the transition from being able to sing and, let's say, gospel,
Yes.
and I believe that's the direction Destra Garcia came from.
Yes. Came
He
from,
came
yes.
from that background, and then getting into soca. The transition could be a transition that, it may be somewhat smooth. You can
Yes.
adjust and adapt. But
Correct.
what I'm asking is, how easy is it for someone who's trying to get into authentic parang or parang music, to get your tongue and your voicing around the language,
Yeah.
and even if you're voicing it in English,
Yes.
to get your tongue and to song that when you hear Daisy voices
Yeah.
Alegria, um, Daisy has a way of delivering a song and
Yeah.
presenting it, and the voicing. I
Yes.
don't think that's something you could emulate. It's almost as if when
Correct.
you hear Baron's voice, you can't mistake that
Correct.
for anybody else. So when you hear Daisy, that's a song.
Correct.
Um,
Yes.
no amount of training you could get
And
somebody to song like Daisy, but you
yes.
can use the voice that they have and try to get them to create their own brand
Yes.
around their own voice. How difficult is it to, when you get a singer, to take that singer now and get them to finesse the parang music, to get into it, and to use the lyrics and the music, and actually present it in that fashion?
Yeah. Okay. Very good question too. Before, it was easier because people listened and they imitated. So you imitated the old bards, and that is how you learned. But now, with the newer bands, and it was easy because, as I said, you have parang families. So it's just like an inheritance. So for us, everybody just sang, and we didn't think whether your voice was suited. You just did your own thing, and you created your own niche. But the only thing that I really knew is that for the men, and that's the other thing, ladies in Parang, it wasn't long time, it was only men. So Tero Gomez, Papa Goon, Silvestre Mata, Eugenio Galan, the ladies came after. So it was really that kind of male tenor voice. And when the ladies came, they were contralto. So you see, that is why Daisy's voice, contralto. And ahead of Daisy was Gloria Alcazar. she would have, you know, life has a strange way because Gloria Alcazar was the queen before Daisy. But I mean, she wasn't called that. But she was known because she came into San Jose Serenaders. And I remember in school and we learning all her songs. Gloria, if you know, because she had Trinidadian roots as well, but born in Venezuela with a Colombian father. So Gloria took parang with all those songs that everybody learned. Cantemos Pastores, La Pascualidad, Viva. All people like my age, you grew up with these songs. But what happened? She died. And Daisy was into Best Village. And you know, with that Lorraine Rivet thing, I think it's what, and then her voice was sometimes I think about, you know, Celia Cruz, that kind of little raspy thing and that low contralto and sweet. Daisy came in with that. And, you know, in the male arena, it fitted well. And her chorus, this is like an octave higher if you listen to that, many of her songs. So long time the chorus was high pitched and the low contralto, female or the male tenor. So everybody knew, you knew what kind of voice you had, and it just fitted in. But what is happening now? People with higher voices are singing, and nothing is wrong with that because once you can sing, and according to what key you put your song in, and it is sounding well, you know, I think we embrace all. But I'll just tell you how a type of voice, you create your own niche actually, you know. So sometimes I will hear a voice and I know which band it is. I already know. I know when Jennifer is singing, when Clep Piper is singing, when Alicia, when Candy K and her band is singing. I just know, Sang Coach, that this is this person singing. So we know as paranderas, you know, who is singing what, because we have created a niche. And this is what the schools are doing. So even like with St. Gabriel's, there's this, our family, La Familia de Rio Claro. They are parent family related to us as well. Sydney Grache. When Sally won that competition, her voice is more of the old high-pitched chorus song. But when she sang the song, I mean, I feel in my paws raised now, how Sydney arranged it. Her voice was just belting. I always remember that year. And when they won, and we were so happy for them. And what, you know, St. Gabriel's, they got a student. Her voice was actually like Sally's, raw and beautiful in its authenticity, clear and unspoiled. And when she sang, and it was so, our paws raised even as judges. And so you know something is happening. So people can still, what you can do, you can find a song that suits your voice and you go with it. And so we'll have a range of paranderas all singing their songs, beautifully. But as you said, Farid, you have to hold a note. If you have, how you call it? Some people...
If you're tone deaf.
Can make. Yes, but, but as long as you can hold a note, and that's the beauty of the parang too. Even the soca parang, you have scrunter voice, baron voice. We have a wealth of talent. And you ever listen to some nice chutney parang, even like Drupati has some, and it's lovely. I love all. You don't have to be happy.
My curiosity is that when you have an orchestra and it's orchestral music and you have several voices, male, female, sometimes you have more than one female. How do you blend those voices in? You're creating a song, and a brand that is synonymous with your band. But it's even harder for me. How do you judge competition? So I'm saying,
yes.
My question is, the first question is, how do you approach that? You have to use the talent that you have. It's like a football team.
Yes, they're very good. Use the talent, and we have clear guidelines. So you will know if the person going out of tune, your air. So you hold your note. You will know if the person doing the phrasing, if the voice dipping at the end and you're not hearing that. Is it reaching and staying dominant, clean, clear? And then you look at the chorus and, like, are you hearing? Are they supporting well? And Patas, clear guidelines. And what is good, we meet when you have to judge, we meet, we have a forum, everybody speaks, we come to a conclusion. So we are on one, you bring your concern. So it is not too hard. So you wouldn't judge and say, I like this voice and I like that voice. All are judged equally on their own merit. They just have to do these things. Stay in tune, hold your note, your dominance, the strength of the vocals as it goes, and so on. It's not weak and pittering out, and you cannot hear it, and so on. So these are the things we look at.
When you have a performance, let's say I'm calling a venue, right? Just figuratively.
Yes.
When you're doing in an environment, let's say like Queen's Hall,
Yes.
where the acoustics is adapted to
Yes.
an environment.
Yeah.
As opposed to, like, I recently heard some parang bands on Tunapuna Day on the street.
Yes.
And the acoustics in that setting is totally different. It's an open air performance.
Correct.
So sometimes what you hear as a listening audience would be different, and you might be find a band singing better, but they may be sounding better in your mind because for different reasons. If you hear the band where the acoustics are
correct
in a different environment, the band is received in a different way.
Yes. I remember even in our early days, when we joined NPAT and we singing in the school and the acoustics band and you're a young band to deal with feedback. And you see, this is what David said. This thing with when you sing acoustically, it is beautiful. Like even somebody in a cafe with a guitar. But when you have to bring an amplification, it could kill you. And that could happen to a soca artist too, because feedback, the mic not working. So what we do in competition, first of all, is the same system for all children. They get to do their song check. If we find we cannot hear good, we raise our hands, fix and let us hear again. So they'll only start when the judges are comfortable. So you see this thing, and this will always happen from the time you're amplified. And let me tell you, parang is harder. We are, like you say, we are an orchestra. People could go and sing with their song track, and even in competition now, two guitar and thing, but you bring in, you have your drummer, you have your this, how much quattros, how much guitars, your mandolin, some of us bring in a keyboard, you have your pan, you have the mic, you have the balance. So we as paranderos have much more work, and you have actually said it. And then when you go in that, sometimes what you choose is not suited. So even like what is being done now, people are more knowledgeable. They go to a school and they look at the environment to see if the competition can be held there. So it's all of these things. This is what happened with evolution. But if we just continue to sing without the mic, we wouldn't have any of that. So technology has to be improved too. And each band member, you learn too. So we will know, I'm not hearing myself on the monitor. You're singing and you can't hear yourself and all this kind of thing. So you raise your hand. But you see, we're in an artificial setting. And if we don't sing in the mic, person in the back not hearing us. So these are the complications of parang now. But it's beautiful orchestra in this setting, stage and party. And
I would always appreciate the amplification of the authentic sound.
Yeah, but still you get problems too, even with that. If the mics, and then people say, well, they cut off my mic in a competition. They cut my mic because they don't like me. So David, I know what to say, but being in the parang, those are the things you hear. So it comes with its own problems. How come he's singing so good? My mic wasn't working. So it's a lot to think about. And because of all these problems, I will always congratulate NPAT for holding on, for doing what you think is best. That is the association that we joined, and we still probably more like honorary now, because we are older and, and we enjoy things, away from it. you
Yes,
know.
well, I pray and I hope that groups like
Yes,
Dinamicos and Amantes de Paranda and
yes,
Los
wonderful.
Alumnos de San Juan and
Yes,
thing, I hope that they stay together to maintain
yes.
that
I mean,
sovereign,
yes,
unique
the
sound of
part that,
Trinidad.
yeah, David, I understand.
The Pantran and Tuco and so on, they survive essentially on government subventions.
Yeah.
Um, have you all, or the National Parang Association of Trinidad and Tobago, have you all been able to argue for greater traction? So the prize money,
Yes,
the benefits, the
benefit.
support,
Yes.
that sort of support is extended to you all.
I'm not sure now because since I'm not on the board, so the board members will be able to explain that. But I know in our time, there was always that problem. And we did get, but it was never enough. You know, I remember that talk. So that's why we didn't get paid. Let me see what year it was. 1988. I remember well. So we didn't get paid because it was
As
said
a re-
that
as a
government.
result of that, do you find yourself losing membership where they try to get into, let's say they're getting into soca or they're getting into parang soca
No, you
because they
know,
can't make money doing what you all
yeah.
do?
But you see, our band is different. The members come and stay in our band. Those who left are good. They left to join a church to be more, to pray more, and some migrated. And this, but the core has remained. And you see, we are basically family. So the core, we have cousins in the band and good friends from Moruga. So that core that won the competition from 1986, we still have all of them, and then we just got younger ones, after some, So
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 you
we
have some succession planning.
yes, we have had succession planning, as we went along. So we have never had problem with membership. Oh yes, only now because our Quattro man is not well. And so we spoke about the Quattro.
Mm.
But I'll tell you how technology helps us. Because we all of us could play the Quattro, but we singing too, like in our band, we do everything. So sometimes we want to be happy and to move around. My brother, he can what we do technologically put in the quattro from our music. So people will
Mm.
hear that song, but you're not seeing, actually it's Boland playing you're hearing Boland quattro, but Boland is not there. So sometimes I
Mm.
say, we thank God for technology.
Of course.
Yeah, we may recruit a young one, but sometimes I keep saying better they join a younger band, so that they can experience that kind of thing, So this is what
What's the size of your band in terms of membership? How many members?
our band is 10 right now, and the most we ever were would have been like between 12 and 14.
Have you ever found that they're found to be, is there a challenge? A challenge in the context of when you have to be hired by a corporate trying to be able to do a gig.
Yes.
Um, Sometimes the corporate trying to be don't want to spend money. They mingle. So
Yes,
they wanna get the band for as cheap as possible.
as
And
possible.
do
But
you all hold to a standard that all 10 members coming is either you hire us with the full members or you go there and sing the soundtracks?
to read, I say all or none. So they know it's good for that. I say, one time we were invited by the OS to go to Ecuador to sing, and they could have only paid for 10. And I said, we will pay for all. And they said, yeah, for the remainder. And we did it. And we had a wonderful time. And I just want to say something about our band. What we did, we defied tradition in a way. Because when we started, we used to compose our own music, and people will say, you know, to get better known, sing people's song, do this like people. But I say, but no, I can't do that. This is how we feel. This is dynamicos. And we will just add in the two popular bands at that time were La Divina. So we will stick in a little Daisy and San Jose Serenaders and a little, Gloria. And we did only our songs. But this proved very fruitful because in the end, it comes like you are fed something all the time. It is new and you don't know it. But when you hear it all the time, you begin to take note. It goes into your subconscious. And that is why I think that we were able to win cut awards for the songs, because they were, we played them in places and people know them. And each band, you have your fans. It's a wonderful thing. There's space for everybody. As I like this band, each band, you have their fans, and we respect, I think, at least I see it like that. And we love each band. We do good with at least me, and they have their fans, we have ours. Sometimes we meet in a big show sometimes, and we chat, and it is lovely. So people get to know your music. And I always say, go brave, because some people singing covers. But it's nice because we do it too. But we sing basically Dynamicos music. And we went to Ecuador, and my brother did the song Mariela, and even Holly. He knows as the other sisters. He said, Francisca, why always singing Spanish dub? And I say, Holly, I know, but this is how we feel. We coming down in that bus, and Sean going, Ario Manzanare, Adehame pasar, ake mi madre, because this is what we are living. And we created Ario Manzanare dub. And when we went to Ecuador, we played the parang, not a soul move. When we brought Mariela, don't talk for Parosin. Everybody make conga line when they hear that song that I sang with Hero. Parosin danced with me. So
La Samba.
is not, yes, man, that it was fat. And the next day, a man on a motorcycle, he said, what was that song? Only like Bob Marley. My brother's Mariela mi amor. And then you have the little dub at the end. So my thing is love. You must love what you do. You must love your music. You must study it. You need to know what you are doing, where we came.
Oh, but it seems like she's frozen at the
Yeah,
end
she's
of the
frozen.
show.
Well, we'll invite her
Francisca?
again to the listening public. We had
Of
Miss
course.
Francisca Allard, and we will have her again for a continuation and an extension of what she has developed with us. David, thanks so much for your time. I know we at that point now. So
If ever you can connect with her, or if Francesca can give you the number of Jennifer McPherson of Los Tocadores, that will be a fine guest to bring on. Jennifer.
we'll work on that. We'll work on that.
Yes.
So enjoy your evening, be safe, and safe journey home. Blessings to the public.
Okay, thank you. Sorry about you freezing up, Francesca, but we gotta go. We're gonna bring you on again soon. That's it for today's edition of Hard Talk with Farid Ali and his special guest, Francesca Alad, and earlier on, members of La Familia de Música.